What's happening, everybody? How are we today on this fine Thursday? Man, that we do miss that Anna, don't we? We miss that. We miss that big. You know, there's been a lot of heat tossed TYT's way, and a lot of it has been deserved. A lot of it has been deserved, and I'll say this: we need more of that, though. We need more of that, guys. You can't have you can't have this movement that we have with softness, with the tolerant left. We can't continue to push back against the extremes of this administration with soft words and shaking hands. You know, I watched that Mehdi Hassan debate with those 20 far right wing fascists. And that's what they are. They call themselves that. The gentleman on that show said, and I shouldn't even say gentleman, the immature young white nationalist, he said it. Yeah, I'm a fascist. I don't care. So what? Who cares? In those same debates, multiple people said, "Let's tear up the Constitution. We don't want that Constitution. That Constitution doesn't help us." That's what they said. And these are the same people that, if you remember right, young Luke Beasley, would go to these MAGA rallies, and he would say to these MAGA supporters, he would say, "Are you a fan of the Constitution?" And they would say, "Yes, we are. It is the foundation of America. It is important. It is the very thing that this whole country was created on." And he would say, "Do you think Donald Trump supports the Constitution?" "Yeah, he's the most patriotic. He is the man that most represents the Constitution." And you go, "Can I show you a tweet? Can I show you a tweet where Donald Trump says that we should subvert the Constitution and, even if necessary, get rid of it?" And they, that doesn't exist. And what do? He'd scan through his phone, and he'd hold up the phone to him, and he'd show him the tweet where Donald Trump said that if necessary, subverting the Constitution was the right thing to do. And those people would say, "Oh, no, that's fake. That's fake. That's not real. That's a Photoshop. That's AI." And once again, the hypocrisy of MAGA and the things that they believe, and the true example of why they are a cult, is that they are now debating Mehdi Hassan on Jubilee and saying that the Constitution is not only defective, but should be gotten rid of, completely done with. This movement by MAGA, watch the video. Go watch that Mehdi Hassan Jubilee video if you haven't watched it already. It's 2 hours. It's brain rot, and it hurts your brain. I literally, at the end of watching all of that, my head hurt. My head hurt, guys. I had to take some pain medication because it is painful. But this MAGA movement believes that they should have a dictator. I made a video from Jordan Klepper where Jordan Klepper went and talked to MAGA supporters and said, would you want Donald Trump to be a king? Would you want Donald Trump to be a dictator? And so many of those people said yes, which of course obviously violates the Constitution. They didn't care. And a lot of people that watched that video, it got a lot of views. It got a lot of comments. A lot of the MAGA people would say, they go, "Oh, so what? Maybe he should be the king. Maybe he should, be a dictator." But there was also a lot of MAGA that were in there that said, this is just, these people don't know. Donald Trump would never do that. You guys are just, you're taking these interviews out of context. You're editing them. By the way, these were all 2-3 minute long clips. There's no editing. It was just these people saying what they think. And now they're mask off. Now they are mask off. Because once again, in those debates, they said, I think we should have a king. I think that Donald Trump should be voted into being a king. And then he should be ramming down the throats of Democrats religious white Christian nationalism. That's what it should be. You do not fight this administration's rhetoric with soft words. And so I've said this before. I've made videos talking about Cenk. But I've been pretty consistent about saying this. I know a lot of people think he's grifting. I know a lot of people think he is trying his Dave Rubin, doing his best to move that route. But I said, there's a part of me that still believes that Cenk wants something from this that I wanted from this 2 years from ago. And anybody that's watched my channel will tell you, my subs would get so mad at me because I would talk to these MAGA people. They'd come into the chat and they'd say something, and I go, okay, all right, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what Donald Trump did, and let's talk about what Biden's done. And none of these conversations went well for him, of course. But most of my subscribers are like, you are wasting your time with these people. And I said, well, I want America to be, I want it to be solidified. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be well taken care of. That's what puts me on the left. The empathy for other human beings puts me on the left. And I wanted them to come back to reality and sanity and stop with the hypocrisy, stop with the craziness. Find understanding in the fact that many of us feel as though there is some very inherent flaws in our country that we would love to see taken care of. And I think that Cenk, I still have hope. I think that Cenk made the mistake that I did. I think he made the mistake of saying these people are reachable. Now, Cenk went one step further than I did, and I am unwilling to cross a certain line when it comes to this idea of bringing back people into the fold. And that is, Cenk said he'd have a beer with racists. Cenk said he'd have a beer with homophobes. And that's not within me. I don't have the patience for that. I didn't back then. I definitely do not now. The reason I'm saying this is because Anna right there, that's peak. That's what we want. We see videos of Hunter Biden in interviews with Andrew Callahan speaking to truth and talking about the hypocrisy of MAGA hating Hunter Biden because he had pictures of him with prostitutes or doing drugs on his laptop. Which, by the way, the release of this, that should have been illegal. The very theft of his personal information being broadcast across the nation, across the globe, should have been illegal. But we need, some of you guys ain't gonna like this, some of you ain't gonna like it. So we need Hunter Biden's voice. Because we need people that in aggressive, confrontational language is saying to everybody out there, look at this fucking hypocrisy. Look at these people judging me for my flaws, for my mistakes, while supporting a 34-time convicted felon who was held liable of sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. We don't win this with soft words. We don't win this by shaking hands. We don't win this by having beers with racists and homophobes. And I hope that as we move further and further in this direction, that we see people that still genuinely have the foundation of beliefs that me, you, and most people on the left do. I hope that we see these people make the same, come to the same answer that I did. And that is, you can try all you want to make these people see from your eyes, to walk a mile in the shoes of an immigrant, but they don't want to. They want nothing to do with an ideology that is conflictual with what they want to come to as a goal. And that goal is to establish a country where it is acceptable to hate minorities, hate LGBT people, because they're insecure, because they don't feel safe around minorities, because they have been fed fear and anger their whole life, because they are insecure, because they have seen LGBT people find love and they just can't deal with it. They can't see a man kissing another man. It just gets so deep down in their soul, into that closet where they're hiding their skeletons, and they're so afraid to be outed. So they can't. They can't. I'll tell you some of the things I want to talk about today. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. First of all, I appreciate you guys being here and staying here after Pastor Benjamin got done doing his thing. Thank you for everybody that stays. Thank you for everybody that's watching over on my stream. I thank you guys all so much. Today we're going to talk about some of the good things. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough week, guys. We lost some legends this week. We lost Theo, and we lost Ozzy Osbourne. But if there is a God, guys, if there is a God, he said, I'm sorry, let me make this right. And he took Hulk Hogan. I don't think that was a fair trade, to be honest with you guys. To be honest with you, you couldn't take 100 Hulk Hogans to take one Ozzy from me. So rest in peace, Ozzy. Rest in peace, Theo. But I feel like he tried to make it right. I feel like he tried to make it right. I feel like if there is a God, he's like, oh, I am so sorry to my children. I am so sorry. I've been putting you through so much. Here, let me give you guys a solid. Because we ain't winning shit with soft language. There's so many people. If this was 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I'm sure there's even people now that are like, how dare this man? That man, he had a family. That man did good things in his life. You know what I have to say about Hulk Hogan? I grew up watching Hulk Hogan. Up until I was about 15 and, old enough to realize that wrestling was fake. I loved Hulk Hogan. I loved wrestling. I loved watching it. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the spectacle. Enjoyed the entertainment. Once I got old enough, I realized this shit is fake. And I moved on to different things. And that, to be honest with you, makes me dislike who Hulk Hogan is more today. And that's a lesson that MAGA should fucking learn. They should learn that when you are deceived by a person into believing that they are a good person, a person that cares about others, a person that does good things when it's hard to do good things, when that person shows you who they truly are, and that person is a garbage human being who will willfully look at those same people that looked up to him growing up, and believe me, there were black people, white people, Mexican people, straight people, gay people, LGBT across the board that looked up to Hulk Hogan. And he came out and he sold them out without a doubt for money. To be relevant one more time. And MAGA should take a lesson from that. You will not catch me up here going, whoa, guys, was pretty good dude. Back in the day, everybody makes mistakes. Shake his hand, let's have a beer, brother. Now, I'm going to call it how it is. I'm going to tell you guys that I would rather see Charlie Kirk openly saying the shit that he says. I would rather Tim Pool being 10 toes down with all the bullshit he believes than have a person lead me to believe that they are a good, positive, strong influence on the young people in this country, only to deceive them and come out and show their true colors by supporting the very people that oppress and hate those people. So, rest in peace, Ozzy. Rest in peace, Theo. Hulk Hogan can fuck himself. All right, guys. But there was another good one. There's more good this week. As you guys all know, I'm sure any of you guys probably watched the South Park show last night. I don't pay for Paramount. I got enough streaming services. I can't pay for more. I'm not fucking Elon Musk or Peter Thiel. I ain't got that kind of money to be streaming everything. Okay, guys? But for those of you guys who do, I know you guys watched the show. I know you guys watched it. So let's get it up on the screen here. All right. Actually, let's make me a little bit smaller. Let's make me smaller. There we go. Let's make sure we can read this. South Park premiere skewers Trump and Paramount in fiery return. We do not speak with soft language. We let them know exactly how we feel. And these guys legit spoke for Americans that are absolutely fucking tired of Donald Trump and all the bullshit. And there is no better way to say, I'm not going to fall for the shit that you put out there. I'm not going to continue this facade that Trump and his supporters are just good people. And they're just, you know, they just don't understand what their words mean. They skewered them with this video, with this episode. And I am so here for this. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone brought their show back with a vengeance on Wednesday in an episode that took swings at both the parent company of the network that airs their popular animated series and President Donald Trump. If there is anybody out there right now watching this, Jimmy Kimmel, anybody else watching this right now, let me just say this. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. You think Matt and Trey don't have enough money? You think Matt and Trey don't, like, you think that they don't already say, I don't need more? That is what distinguishes good people from the rest. Is they're not afraid. They don't need more. They don't need to be billionaires. They don't need more. But they'll take Paramount's money and they'll shit directly on their chest at the same time. And that was amazing. The delayed season 27 premiere of the satirical show revolved around the ending of wokeness and a Trump character suing residents of South Park for $5 billion after they protest Jesus appearing in local schools. I didn't want to come back and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit in the agreement with Paramount, the Jesus character says. And of course, that's referencing the litigation that's going through right now. And we all know what's going on right now. We know that every one of these news stations, these TV stations, are bending the knee. They're capitulating. They're saying to Donald Trump, please, Lord Donald Trump, do not take what we have away from us because we know it's well within your power to do so. That's what these news stations are doing right now. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Thankfully, we have Pastor Benjamin. Thankfully, we have Matt the Letter Hack. Thankfully, we have Adam Mockler and Luke Beasley and Brian Tyler Cohen and David Pakman and everybody else, Kyle Kalinske, Mike Figueredo, everybody else in alternative media today. Because can you imagine what would be happening if South Park was the only thing left pushing back? If Stephen Colbert was the only person left that said, fuck you, fire me. Can you imagine what this would look like right now? So I stand with Matt. and I stand with Trey. And to be honest with you, I couldn't have called this. I didn't think it'd be this good. I would think it'd be some tongue-in-cheek humor. I would think it would be some off-color jokes. But they went hard. You guys saw what happened to CBS. Well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount. You really want to end up like Colbert? You guys got to stop being stupid, Jesus continues. He also has the power to sue and take bribes, and he can do anything to anyone. It's the fucking president, dude. South Park is over. Them getting them to sign the contract, them getting them to pay them to do the very thing that they have been trying to stop other people from doing on their network is fucking... Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't forget to show love to these people. Don't forget, like I tell you guys when it comes to your content creators, don't forget to show love. Don't forget to drop comments. Don't forget to make sure that these people know that you support them. The town agrees to settle and produce pro-Trump PSAs. The Trump character is portrayed as a sensitive bully who threatens to tariff or sue anyone who disagrees with him in the episode. I don't know if that is this a cartoon or is this just real life? It sounds like that's just real life. Never a show to shy away from controversy. One scene superimposes a photo of the president over animation depicting Trump in bed with Satan. And I'll be honest with you guys, that is demeaning. That is disrespectful. I don't know what Satan did to deserve that. I don't know. I mean, that poor dude is a fallen angel. He has been punished enough. Do not put Donald Trump in the bed with that man. I am going to have to say that is one place they went too far. Because Satan didn't deserve that. It's weird that whenever it comes up, you just tell everyone to relax, Satan tells Trump character about the Epstein case. Longtime South Park viewers will remember that the creators did something similar in 1999 when they depicted Saddam Hussein in a relationship with Satan. Wednesday's episode includes Satan telling the Trump character that he reminds him of a guy he used to date. It's gold! It's gold! Ah, little side story for you guys. The guy in my office, he said, "Did you see this? Did you see the South Park stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about." And he goes, "Man, do you think Trump will respond to this?" And I was like, "Do I think Trump will respond to this?" I'm like, "Has Trump not responded to this yet?" He's like, "What do you think he'll say? What do you think he'll say?" I go, well, Matt and Trey, they're so irrelevant. They're nobodies. South Park, it hasn't been funny for a very long time, if it ever was funny. You know, a long time ago, before they went woke, Matt and Trey, they might have been funny. I didn't find them funny, but I know a lot of people did. But they're just not funny anymore. They've totally fallen off. And guess what? Guess what, guys? That's exactly what he said. Well, I'm sorry. He didn't say that. The White House said that. The White House said that, guys. Oh, it's so amazing. White House spokesperson Taylor Rogers downplayed the episode in a statement to CNN. This show hasn't been relevant for over 20 years as is hanging on by a thread with uninspired ideas and a desperate attempt for attention. By the way, I didn't pre-read this article. Don't fucking call me out and say I just read this shit. President Trump has delivered on more promises in just 6 months than any other president in our country's history, and no fourth-rate show can derail President Trump's hot streak. Oh, it's definitely been a hot streak, all right. A hot streak of Epstein information that is just piling out like fucking just like diarrhea out of a dude who just drank a fucking thing of laxatives. Just weeks ago, Parker and Stone expressed their dissatisfaction about the planned acquisition of Paramount Global by Skydance Media and its impact on their contract negotiations. This merger is a shit show, and it's fucking South Park. The two wrote in a post shared on social media. We are at the studio working on new episodes, and we hope the fans get to see them somehow. The season premiere this week coincided with an announcement that the two creators had reached a $1.5 billion deal to stream all South Park episodes on Paramount Plus, with an order for 50 more episodes to air on Comedy Central. A person familiar with the matter confirmed the $1.5 billion valuation for the South Park streaming deal to CNN. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. There is no speaking softly. There is no tolerant left anymore. You can't do this. You don't get a choice. If you want women to be respected in America, if you want LGBT people to feel safe in America, if you don't want to see minorities being deported because of the color of their skin, if you don't want to see birthright citizenship taken away so that way they can make a whole new a group of people deportable, so that way Donald Trump can reach an arbitrary goal of deporting as many people as he possibly can, so that way he can make the people that hate, that are filled with anger, that are filled with fear, finally feel something deep within what might be a soul, but I doubt it. If you want that to go away, you don't get to talk soft. You don't get to talk soft. You don't get to be the people that say, you know, hey, Democrats are always the adult in the room. Hey, when they go low, we go high. That's out. That's out. If you're a person that chose to not vote for Kamala Harris, if you're a person who chose to sit this one out, and you're sitting there thinking, I'm just going to stand back and stand by, and I'm using those words on purpose, and I'm just going to let this play out. This is what these people deserved. You're these people. Because if you didn't want Trump in office in the first place, you have the same values. You don't get to be quiet. You have to be loud. And 2 years ago when I was loud, people said, he curses too much. 2 years ago when I was loud, people say he makes fun of MAGA and they're obviously mentally ill. That's not who we are on the left. Well, that's who you gotta be. That's where you have to go. There's no more polite conversation. No more agree to disagree. In those Mehdi Hassan videos, I said to myself, I went, man, Mehdi sat there and got told by a dude, I think you should leave the country. You should be deported. And after that conversation, that debate, Mehdi shook his hand. And I was like, Mehdi's a better man than I will ever be. Because I wouldn't shake that person's hand. You'll be lucky if I didn't come over the table. All right? Like, what do you mean you're going to sit here in front of me and tell me, and this is a direct quote from one of these gentlemen, that after they have voted Trump in to be the king of America, that Donald Trump will not come for him and his family to literally murder them because they are friends with Donald Trump. They agree with Donald Trump. Therefore, they would be happy to vote for that. That means that you do not care if they come for me and mine. That means that you don't care if they come for my LGBT friends. That means that you don't care if they come for the people that I love and appreciate, the people that have worked for me, the people that work above me. The friends that I grew up in an African American culture where I was shunned by white supremacists. The only reason I'm here today is because of the African American culture. And maybe that is why I am who I am. Maybe that is why I'm so loud. Maybe that is why I'm so honest and willing to just say you straight to your face. If somebody insults you, you insult them. Fuck them. You don't get to do this. You got to be loud, guys. You got to be loud. So we got another one on that. Let's see if we can bring it up here. Let's get rid of that. So, of course, the big question to be asked, about what the South Park creators did was, what will the impact of this episode have on the dealings between Paramount and Donald Trump. And we all know who we know who Paramount is too, but we all know who Donald Trump is. He's vindictive. He's angry. He's hateful. You going to tell me that they're going to let that episode... Tell me right now that Donald Trump was not on the phone with Larry Ellison's son saying, no way, you're not getting this done. You fire Matt and Trey, and they better be gone, or you will never, ever merge your two companies together again, or ever. Tell me. And I'm for that. By the way, they shouldn't be merging. Do you know what happens when big companies merge? When big companies merge, they squeeze out all the small people. I work in the grocery industry. When Kroger's wanted to merge with Safeway, I was like, that's bad for business. That squeezes out the small guy. Price competitiveness goes out the door. And Lena Khan, when Lena Khan was part of Biden's administration, she stood up for people. She made sure that merger did not happen. And because of that, I'm super thankful to the Biden administration and to Lena Khan for making that not happen. So not only is this great in the way of South Park standing up for their morals, their values, and saying to others, like, if you're scared, I'm not. Don't worry, I got this. Not only is that important, but also just the idea that there are people out there right now in our position that want to start a company, that want to do something with their life, that want to make money for people that they care about, that will be squeezed out because every time one of these big corporations merges with another big corporation, it leaves less and less room for the little man, for the little person. Okay? So I'm all for that. So I also brought up this video. This is the Bulwark talking about, oh, here it is right here. This is the Bulwark talking about whether or not South Park just tanked it. I am so here for this. So let's watch Tim from the Bulwark talk about it.
Hey, everybody.
This.
Tim Miller from the Bulwark here with our culture editor, Sonny Bunch. You know shit's getting real when we bring in Sonny. Over on South Park, my Colorado boys, Matt and Trey. Was it a new season last night? Sonny?
Yeah.
It's a new season. First episode of the new season. And they went hard in the paint at Tiny Dick's Donald Trump. And these guys have kind of avoided Trump discourse, not completely, but, just they've even said in interviews about how challenging it is to spoof Trump, because of the nature of Donald Trump. But for a few reasons, there's been a change of tune. And when I saw the stuff coming across last night before I went to bed, I got to tell you, it is fucking hilarious. Like they really go after Trump's little pee-pee and his relationship.
I haven't seen the episode, but I've read, okay? I've read the article. We all know how to get at an insecure male. Like, I've always said that, like, people will come into my chat, MAGA people, right? MAGA people will come into my chat, and they'll go, you look like you're gay. And I'll go, yep, for you. Just for you, Bob. Just for you. Just gay for you, dude. Me and you, we could hang out. We could make out. Should we do it? Because I don't have insecurities like that. I don't give two shits whether or not people think that I'm gay or not. There ain't nothing wrong with being gay. I don't care, man. I ain't got to parade my two kids and my wife of 20 years out in front of everybody to be like, look, totally not gay, guys. Totally not. It's not necessary. No, instead, I want to lean into that shit. I want to put my hand on his shoulder. I want to run my fingers down his back. Does that make you uncomfortable, sir? Good. That's how all the women in your life feel. We know how to get at the insecurities of somebody like Donald Trump. Stormy Daniels told us all about how that little mushroom told us all about how teeny tiny it was. All about it. And look, that man's 80 years old. I'm sure it has gotten nothing but smaller. It is probably like an elevator button pushed in at this point. It is like a peanut in a bird's nest. It is like a AAA battery at this point. Okay? That's what Donald Trump's working with. So, fucking good job, South Park.
Relationship with the devil. A little Saddam Hussein throwback as well. Sonny, you've watched the whole episode this morning. Before we get into kind of the meta convo about how this plays into the Paramount and the censorship and the lawsuits, before we get into all that, let's just tell the people what the South Park boys did.
Well, it's a very funny episode. This is the first episode in 2.5 seasons, and as you said, they have always kind of come at Trump from a sideways angle. You know, in the last.
Do you think when, I know you guys don't want to think about this, but I'll make you think about it anyways. Do you think when Donald Trump looks up porn on Pornhub, he's like, does he look up micropene just so it's like more realistic? Like, does he feel safer? You know Trump avoids the black porn. You know MAGA has a thing, right? MAGA has a thing about black men being with their women. Like, you know Donald Trump 100% avoids like, oh shit! How did they get that on my computer? And then again, maybe he likes that shit, to be honest with you. He might actually be into it.
Last season they had
he does actually seem like kind of a cuck, so I wonder if they have a video of Melania with a black man. That's what you're gonna when Trump passes away and they get a hold of his computer, guys. You're gonna see a bunch of AI videos, probably just like that. Maybe it's just AI videos of him with a larger peen. He's like, that's right, I gave it to her, she liked it.
Mr. Garrison running for president as kind of a Trump figure. He had the red hat and the, tan makeup, etc.
Tan?
But they've always been a little bit hesitant about going direct.
Motherfucker, say it like it is orange. That ain't tan makeup. My brother in Christ, that is not tan makeup. That's not even beige. Like, that shit is straight up orange, tangerine orange.
At Trump, just because, as you say, it's hard to satirize somebody like Donald Trump.
100%.
Also, everybody else was doing it. Like, there was no shortage of people mocking Donald Trump, so they always kind of like stayed away from it. This season, they went head on directly at Donald Trump. If longtime fans of the show will remember how they treated Saddam Hussein.
Yes, we do.
They used actual images of Saddam Hussein and gave him kind of a flappy head and a funny voice and had him in bed with Satan. They've literally put Donald Trump into this same exact position this season.
At least they made Satan look like he's not real excited. That's good. I feel like they did Satan so wrong in this video. I mean, they already did him with Saddam. Now they're gonna put an even worse dictator in there next to him. I mean, who's next? JD Vance? Wait, guys. Who's next? Who's next? Ah, who is next? RFK? Maybe RFK? Pete Hegseth? What if they put Pete Hegseth in there with Satan? That'd be with a bottle of whiskey? Or does he likes vodka, right? A bottle of vodka?
As the season begins. And the thrust of the episode is the boys at South Park are very confused because, first off, Cartman can't listen to NPR, which he loved because it was always full of women and minorities complaining about things. And that's his watch. Their tears of sadness brought him great joy. And he's like, what's happened? And they say, well, Donald Trump has canceled NPR. And he's like, what? Donald Trump can't cancel a show. Wink, wink, nudge, and we can get into that. And from there, Jesus has been reintroduced to South Park. He's in the schools. Jesus is in the schools. He's in the schools. And the character who is known as PC Principal, who was introduced a few years back as kind of a frat bro type, but woke, like a woke bully, one would describe him as, a woke scold, woke bully, has rebranded as Power in Christ Principle. And the whole point of the episode is to capture the vibe shift of how
Power in Christ
the person
Principle.
who is telling you what you can and cannot say has gone from, again, kind of the woke left, whatever, the PC Principle type, to now the woke right. It's the folks on the right who say you can't say this about Donald Trump. He'll sue you. And that is what happens to every time somebody says something about Donald Trump, or anytime somebody accurately in the context of the show paints or draws his very small member. He
I like that he said accurately. That's low-key a pretty goddamn good burn. You know what Donald Trump won't sue people over? You know what Donald Trump doesn't have a bunch of defamation lawsuits about right now? He's not suing, he isn't suing AOC. He's not suing Elon Musk. You know why he's not suing those people? Because the shit they're saying is true. And I hope you guys know, have you guys seen the article that just came out that says that the Epstein estate, so the Epstein estate is represented by not represented, the guy who's friends with the person who is in charge of the Epstein estate is a lawyer for the 200 victims in the Epstein files. And he said that they are in possession of the 50th birthday book. Donald Trump is in so much fucking trouble, guys. He's in so much fucking trouble. At this point, Donald Trump might be praying to follow Hulk Hogan as soon as possible before all of this shit comes out. Donald Trump might, for the first time in his life, be down on his knees with them fat, huge, fucking gigantic, congestive heart failure ankles, just praying his ass off. Take me now, Jesus. Please, before all this stuff comes out, please take me now.
Threatens lawsuits. He said, I'm going to sue you for $5 billion. You can't say that about me. You can't say that about me. And by the end of the episode, this is the clip that was going around last night.
But I should probably stop. I should probably stop.
The people of South Park have put together a PSA, a public service announcement, as part of their settlement with Donald Trump, who has threatened to sue the town for $5 billion, in which Donald Trump is wandering through the desert, suffering for the sins of the people. He's thirsty. He needs sustenance. He's taking off his clothes, and at the end of the PSA, again, it's so childish to say out loud, but it's very, very funny. A tiny little Donald Trump penis with cartoon eyes on the end of it says, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. And I'm sorry.
No, that's wrong, Sonny. I've only seen the clips. You've seen the whole episode, but just because I've watched the clip 90 times, I can tell you how that actually ends.
Oh, okay.
And it is the VO, Voice of God, for the PSA, and it says, Donald Trump, his penis is teeny tiny, but his love for us is large.
That's a good point. I'm sorry. That is Tim, you've watched this more times than I have.
Oh, you know he has.
But no, it's the whole episode. The whole episode is very funny, and again, we can get into the
something that let me put this up on here. Groot Dragon says there's a rumor going around that JD Vance went to the Murdoch Ranch to get the blessing for being the next president. There's a lot of us. I said this long before the election. I said that Donald Trump was always just the clown. He was always just a foot in the door, the populist president. J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, all of these techno-oligarchs always believed that there was no way that they would get in. There is literally a speech by Peter Thiel talking about the fact that he didn't think that people would vote for him and his ideas. Donald Trump was just the foot in the door for these people. Anybody right now that thinks that J.D. Vance is not positioning himself to put Donald Trump into an old folks home so that way he can take the reins of the White House has lost their goddamn mind. J.D. Vance is salivating. J.D. Vance might be feeding Donald Trump Big Macs, like sneaking in his room at like 3 a.m. while Donald Trump is up rage tweeting about whatever is happening at that time. Stop talking about Epstein. J.D. Vance is probably there with a fucking large McDonald's fries, a strawberry milkshake, a fucking bottle of ketchup, and like 3 Big Macs. He's like, I always treat you good, Trump. Remember, I'm the one who always brought you dinner when they wouldn't let you have the high sodium because they said that your congestive heart failure would end up taking you down. Remember, Donald, I'm the one that cares about you. J.D. Vance is Peter Thiel's puppet. Peter Thiel is influenced by Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin believes that this country should be separated into corporations that are ran by CEOs. And if you guys don't know, go ahead and check out Forever California. Just recently, another article just came out about Forever California creating a place in East Solano County out of the land that they purchased for what they call a foundry. Yep, it's happening. And a lot of this shit is being buried. You should be checking that stuff out.
Paramount, CBS of it all. But it goes to show you can make fun of Trump and it can be very funny. And I am going to be very curious to see if what happens with the Paramount CBS sale and the
Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think Trump goes full vindictive. I think he won't allow the merger. How amazing would that be? How amazing would that be? Dude, I think Donald Trump is on the phone right now screaming and tossing ketchup against the walls, telling them that they'll never get anything as long as he is alive. They might be actually praying for Donald Trump's death too. They might actually be sending him Big Macs and cheeseburgers real soon here as well. How many people are just going to be feeding Donald Trump McDonald's hoping that he just fucking croaks at this point? Look, you thought that the left had to do it. You thought like we were going to have to send him McDonald's gift cards. Like you thought we were going to have to DoorDash stuff right to the White House. Just bags of Big Macs. But I don't think you have to anymore. I think at this point, the left can take a step back and just let this happen. Because I feel like 100%, man, they are going to try to put the kibosh on this merger. I don't see it happening.
Merger and all that stuff. What happens with all that going forward is going to be kind of interesting to see.
I got to tell you, if I was Donald Trump, I would ignore this. Because it is so brutal, and like these guys are so good that Trump's superpower in a political fight, right, is he's always fighting with dorks.
Yep.
I say this as somebody that is
100%. Was it Shane Gillis that said it? Like when we originally saw the debates, I laughed. I was like, "Holy shit, Ted Cruz is getting murked." I was like, "This shit is fucking hilarious." Like. You have to think about Donald Trump for being who Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is a bully. But Donald Trump is also a drunk heckler at a comedy show when he's talking to the South Park creators. We all know that person that's like, "You suck!" And the next thing you know, Cliff Cash is taking their ass out. Or Steve Hofstetter is making fun of them. The dumbest people in the room are the people that shout at the comedian. You know, the funny guy that has a mic. I don't think that Donald Trump sits this one out. I think Donald Trump should sit this one out. I think Donald Trump should sit the rest of America's fucking lifetime out as well. I don't think he takes advice from anybody. I think Donald Trump is going to make this situation worse, and I am so fucking here for it. It's going to be amazing.
Ben that has tried, that was there in 2016 with Jeb. God love him. Jeb's a dork. Donald Trump had this advantage where everybody else plays by the rules and he doesn't. He doesn't give an F, right? He can be like, whatever, Hillary eats babies. And, he can just, remember the one time Marco Rubio tried this?
Little Marco Rubio.
Donald Trump's tiny hands, meaning he has a tiny penis. Rubio apologized 2 days later, right? Because, he got shamed, right? Donald Trump is unshameable. And so he can, even though he is weak, he can take an alpha posture in a fight with other politicians.
Dude, Groove is onto something. Groove is onto something. Guys, do that. Do that so hard. Go on Twitter and do that. Go in right-wing channels and do that. That is fucking brilliant, Groove. That is brilliant.
Because he's willing to do stuff that they're not, right, frankly. And also because he's like been on TV and stuff. Like he's a pretty good insult comic. It doesn't really work for me, but it's better. Even when other politicians try, it just feels phony, right?
Yep.
Like it's more authentic to him. Like he is an insult comic bully.
They're fake bullies. He's a real bully.
He doesn't have that advantage against these guys. You know, you can push around and like, you know, I mean, what it's going to be like, oh, Matt and Trey with their stupid, you know, stupid cartoon. Like it draws attention to this. Like there's the other scene that was going around, which was where Donald Trump commissions a painting, and like he goes in the White House and the painter has painted him with this fat, distended belly and tiny dick, and like he comes in, he's like, I'm gonna sue the painter, I'm gonna sue this, I'm gonna sue that, and it's just like I don't know, man. I don't think the Dan Scavino bleats at South Park's expense. Now, his play might be, and this I think gets us into the politics of this, to go after the suits, right, and to try to create issues with that, and not to like go at South Park directly. But you know, this context, as we keep kind of alluding to, is, you know, Paramount is trying to have this merger happen. They got bullied on 60 Minutes on the stupidest lawsuit in history, and they succumbed.
Yep.
By the way, funny aside here, there's a whole riff in this episode about 60 Minutes being terrified to say anything about Donald Trump. You know, they send 60 Minutes to the town. They send 60 Minutes to the town to cover the lawsuit. And they're like, I don't know, these guys are a bunch of losers who are mad at Donald Trump, who's a great man, who's a great president. We got it. It's spot on,
bro. Like, there's been so much bending of the knee that some of it's hard to remember. You guys remember fucking Scarborough and them bending the knee? Like, this time has really shown you who you can trust and who you can't. Like I said, there are silver linings to Donald Trump being the president. Like, the silver linings are, A, we found all these like wonderful, amazing voices on the left that deserve to be seen and heard. That's great. That's a silver lining. I don't think that it would exist without the type of insanity that we've been through. You know, like there are definitely going to be silver linings, and one of them is going to be, for those of us that disliked watching mainstream media before this, it has solidified our opinions that these people will do anything to keep the bag rolling in. They will sell out anybody, including me, you, your family, your friends, to keep the bag rolling in. There's no bravery. There is no courage in CBS. They have told you, CNN has told you for how long that they're standing up for you. They're your news source. They're a trusted news source. And this has put the lie to it. I don't know how there is anybody left that legitimately understands that Trump is insane, Trump is an authoritarian, Trump is a dictator. How there's anybody left that could watch somebody like CBS cave to this and still trust him in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I guess there's brainwashed people of all types, huh?
Absolutely perfect criticism of the folks who just gave them $1.5 billion. I mean, it's
yeah. So this is so South Park's on, you know, is part of the Paramount family. They just re-upped to them for what, 5 years for $1.5 billion?
5 years, $300 million per to get exclusive rights to the library to stream at Paramount Plus, but also to make 10 new episodes a year. Basically, they're getting paid. Matt and Trey, my understanding is they're getting paid $250 million to them to make 10 new episodes a year.
Wow. It's a good deal. It's a good business. You can get it. We're not doing that. We're not doing that kind of rev on YouTube yet. So subscribe to the feed and tell your friends. It's a good deal if you can get it. Well deserved for those guys, though.
Well deserved.
So anyway, so they're part of this Paramount. The merger still hasn't happened. Paramount was bullied into submission over 60 Minutes. They paid off Donald Trump what was $16 million or whatever in damages for editing the company.
And then this, what he's saying here, he'll get another $20 million as well. They said that they're going to do it through ads and PSAs and stuff from Trump. I want everybody to remember this. And I know it's going to be hard because there's so much to remember. Believe me, I know. But these 4 years, every single person that was a part of this, that supported this, that bent the knee, every single one of these persons, people, corporations, whatever, no longer deserve your support in any way, shape, or form. I just saw a video today of John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens, the coach on the Ravens, former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He was, I want to say, a special teams coach. Say, yeah, he supports Trump and he loves everything the president's doing. And, you know, he treated my mom well. Fuck John Harbaugh. Not like I'm a big Ravens fan anyways, but DJ, if you're watching, DJ Frank, that's gotta hurt, dog. I'm sorry for that. DJ's a Ravens fan. Fuck that guy. Fuck John Harbaugh. And like I said, silver linings. At least I know who that dude is now. At least I know that when the chips are down and my family, my friends need protection, that man won't be anywhere in the fucking vicinity. He won't be in the next galaxy over. That he will sell me, my family, and my friends down the river so that way he can support a 34-time convicted felon and sexual abuser that's name is all over the Epstein files. It's good to know. It's good to know.
Kamala Harris interview, like literally the stupidest lawsuit in history, and yet, and all,
his brother.
There's a lot of other stuff happening with Paramount and CBS. Like there's some discussion that CBS is totally going to revamp their news department, that they're getting rid of all DEI. They're going to bring in some conservative potentially from this outlet, the Free Press, to like manage the news department. We'll see if that actually happens. But like they're doing all these things to suck up to Donald Trump and to appeal to Donald Trump. And then these guys come out on their first episode and they offer the most withering, childish mock of Donald Trump imaginable. And I mean, I don't, who knows? Again, like I guess his choice is to either ignore it or to try to use it to garner more concessions out of CBS, or who knows, maybe threats and pulls it. Like how that plays out is as interesting as anything. What do you make of it?
I don't know. I mean, look, all of these, everything that is going to happen.
He's actually got a good point. I bet you he doesn't stop the merger. He probably asked for more concessions. This is going to cost Paramount and Skydance a lot of money. That's actually a really good point.
And with Paramount and CBS is going to happen kind of behind the scenes with the various commissioners and whatever. You remember that? You've seen the movie Casino, right?
Of course, yeah.
You remember the scene in Casino where Ace goes and he thinks he's going to get his gambling license, and then the board just immediately votes no on that. That is what could end up happening to Paramount, right? Just kind of a quick no vote without any real explanation, which will then be followed a day later by Donald Trump just putting it out on Truth Social, like, yeah, I tanked it.
Yeah, you know he's going to. There's going to be a gigantic tweet. Oh, shit. I can't wait until 4 a.m, guys. Do you guys know? You guys know that the 4 a.m. tweet storm that's going to happen tomorrow morning is going to be off the charts. It's going to be insane. I mean, how is he going to do it, though? Because he's already combating all this other shit right now. How's he going to fit in his hate and anger for South Park fucking going in on him so hard when he's having to defend himself on all sides by all the Epstein information just dropping out of the sky on his dome right now? Oh, 4 a.m. is going to be lit, guys.
I tanked it because of South Park. What are you going to do now? And like, whatever. But you say Donald Trump should ignore this. And I think that is the kind of traditionally correct response, right? Since Donald Trump never does the traditionally correct thing.
That's true.
There's no reason why he can't treat this like just another reality TV feud for him to rile up his base. Look at you thought the South Park guys were on your side, MAGA. You thought that they were anti-woke. They're
what is MAGA Where do they shop? What do they watch? Who do they listen to? Like, there's nobody left. All their comedians suck. All the actors that are good, they hate now. All the stores that have cheap shit in it that they used to buy all the time. Like, even Walmart turned against MAGA. Walmart! That's fucking insane! Walmart turned against MAGA. They can't shop at Target. They can't shop at Walmart. They can't shop at Costco. They hate any type of good music. They're like, fuck Green Day. Apparently, they never listened to the lyrics of Rage Against the Machine. They're like, what the fuck, Rage Against the Machine? All they have is Kid Rock and Ted Nugent left. What the fuck are these? Like, they can't watch a movie that has a gay person in it. That means they've never seen Game of Thrones. Sorry for your loss. Although that last season wasn't great. Maybe they dodged a bullet there. They got no TV shows. They got no movies. They got no music. They got no comedians. They don't like certain beers. Like, holy Jesus. What the fuck do these people do? No wonder why they're a cult. They can't do anything but watch Trump shit all day long. It's all they have left.
The wokest people out there. They're making fun of me. They're making fun of you. They're making fun of Christianity. They're making fun of Jesus Christ. And that's another element of this episode, which is like the commodification of Christ. Like, there's a party at the White House, and right there's a party at the White House, and everybody's wearing crucifixes, and it's just like women in bikinis and Kid Rock, and it's like it's disgusting, but it's also funny because it's true. Yeah. It's like, this is the world in which we live.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm interested to find out what he decides to do, because I just, even like kind of spitballing potential responses, like they all just seem so sad compared to what Matt and Trey just did to him. Yeah,
I don't know how we went up this one.
Right?
I don't know.
It seems a little pathetic and sad. Now, again, sometimes he doesn't care about that. Like, he does things that are pathetic all the time, but he has a cult following, and so they make it seem like it's really great, in their little bubble. But I don't know. I think the other interesting element that I want to talk about with you about this really quick, about the vibe shift, is this is another thing that's kind of getting out of control for him a little bit, and it relates to the Epstein story is important in the kind of narrow sense of, it's important that the victims get justice, right? It's important. Any story where the president of the United States and the Justice Department is covering something up that is potential illegality by the president is a story in itself. But to me, like, the broader meta narrative of it is it has provided this opportunity for all of these kind of like contrarian types, libertarian type people that are not really mapped to either party, and people say, like, what is the Joe Rogan of the left? Well, Joe Rogan used to be the Joe Rogan of the left, right? And he's kind of gone back and forth. Like, these types of folks, and
contrarian.
They
That's
are
a good
all
way to
different
say
kind of
it.
stripes, but you can sort of lump in together like the non like political MAGA, right? Like the Rogan and Theo Von and South Park wouldn't even be called MAGA, but like, kind of this anti-woke kind of like, libertarian sort of streak in the culture, right? These guys,
the people who don't want to be told what they can and can't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe, like, to sum it up.
The people that piled into Trump's field, there, I had to explain to my child, my 14-year-old last night, what QAnon was, and that was difficult because it's fucking unbelievable, right? It's hard to believe that QAnon is actually a thing. But yeah, the people that aren't QAnon, the people that were like, I just want to be able to say the R word whenever I want, I want to be able to say that woman is fat. I want, like, whatever. These people that don't really, like you said, that aren't political, people that are like easily swayed towards fear. A huge theme in that Mehdi Hassan debate were all these white people talking about how they're being replaced, which is fucking insane in the first place, but whatever. It doesn't deserve even 5 seconds of coverage. It's fucking insane. But people that are easily swayed by coming across some conspiracy theory or podcast from somebody that they like, where it's like, this is a slippery slope, dude. Next thing you know, you won't be able to say anything. Meanwhile, of course, now Donald Trump is suing media outlets for saying anything, right? I mean, you have conservatives over on Twitter right now calling for Paramount to cancel Matt and Trey's show. Like this has crossed the line. They should never go this far. You don't talk about the United States president this way. Like, it's just certain people, whether or not we want to believe it or not, voted for Trump because they were swayed by some stupid fucking podcast that made them think, oh man, this could get so much worse, guys. Like, you don't know, if the woke left gets in office, we're all screwed. And it's like, oh, do you like the healthcare you have? No, like, we need better healthcare. Oh, okay. So if the woke left gets in, you know you're going to get healthcare? Well, will they? I don't know if that's even true, man. Kamala can't talk, and her laugh is weird. Like, that's their fucking debate points. Those are her debate, they're the debate points. Like, literally, they'd say, like, she doesn't have any policies, and I'd be like, oh, can I talk to you about the different policies she has to help enhance the middle class, to build housing? Like, which ones would you like to talk about? Oh, like, dude, whatever, like, they're not going to follow through with any of that stuff. Like, okay, but you admit she does have policies, and you just said that she didn't. Like, there are certainly these people, and they are libertarians. Jesus Christ, libertarians are insane.
Those folks were for reasons that range from legitimate to kind of stupid, like very upset at the left for the last, like, going back to COVID, basically. And, like, you know, it ties a lot to some of the COVID rules and restrictions. And, like, now, if Trump is covering up the Epstein thing, and the South Park guys can inject this kind of woke right, like the right-wing PC, what I call patriotic correctness, like the stupid stuff that they're putting in, like, oh, we have to honor, all of the great things that America always did. You can't, like, I think it really opens them up to losing that group, or at least to kind of losing control of the narrative in that.
You know what I like about that patriotic correctness thing is that I'm an older dude, all right? I'm in my mid-40s. I get why people, like, want things from their past to be relevant now. I was just watching the 40-Year-Old Virgin last night, right? 40-Year-Old Virgin, in my opinion, is a fucking masterpiece. It's funny as fuck, okay? And there are a lot of jokes in that movie that nowadays would not be seen as being politically correct. I think it's amazing, a great movie. I think it's funny, but if other people don't, they don't need to, right? But what I'm saying is there's a nostalgia to watching that movie. And I was thinking about this, how, like, you know, our parents or grandparents would watch old movies that we would be like, why are you watching this shit? There's such much better stuff out there, right? So it's because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel secure. It makes them feel like they're still relevant, that the world hasn't moved on. But I've been saying this for a long time. This isn't my world anymore. This is young people's world, right? Like, climate change is going to affect the children. The politicians and the policies they set are going to affect the children. The lack of health care is going to affect the children. AI is going to affect children. Like, the world has moved on past me. Like, I am just occupying space and hoping to do something positive while I'm here for the next iteration of human beings that comes up and is a part of this country. And I think when he says patriotic correctness, he really hits something on the head there. Because people will say things like, well, we just don't celebrate this country like we used to. Like, well, because it's moved on. Because nationalism is really hard to keep up unless you have a dictator in power. Because people that get up every day and work 40 hours a week and are, you know, slaving away just trying to pay their rent and their electricity and have food aren't really interested in fucking, you know, being super patriotic. It's like, yeah, 4th of July comes around, you put on your fucking flag t-shirt, you shoot off some fireworks, and you're like, hey, you know, this holiday is not so bad. Thanksgiving comes around and you're like, well, at least we get to eat food. I said this once and I took some shit for this, but I was like, Thanksgiving is kind of a shitty holiday. I'm sorry. And I'm not even talking about the fucking, the history. I'm talking about the fact that it's kind of boring. Our holidays kind of suck. There isn't like a lot of fun to be had in these holidays anymore. People have, become more separate because of the internet, because of social media, because, your family was forced to move across the state to find a fucking job. And things like Thanksgiving just aren't as much fun if you don't have 10 or 15 of your relatives there, right? And when I was a kid, for as poor as I grew up, one of the things that we do in the trailer park, so where I grew up, there's this like kind of line of trailer parks along this street. It was also the prostitution capital of the city that I lived in. I lived in a really bad place. But we would shut down the block, and we'd throw block parties. And we didn't need to have special occasions, but people would all come out with community, and they do this stuff. It didn't need to be a holiday. You just did it. You had fun. And I think that there's something really missing from our society, and I think that actually MAGA and these patriots agree with this. I think innately they feel that loss. There's a part of them that yearns for the days that they remember with rose-colored glasses. Just like I think about the time that I took mushrooms and almost died, and I'm like, it was kind of fun. Now that I didn't almost die, and I think back on that was actually a pretty good time. I got a lot of funny stories from it. I think they yearn for it, and they think of like this patriotism thing as something you can just bring back, and you just force everybody into patriotism. But that's Kim Jong-un shit. That's Hitler shit. That's Putin shit. You can't force people to be patriotic. They're not actually patriotic. Instead, what you should be doing is figuring out new ways that appeal to Gen Z, to millennials, to what are they on now, like Gen Alpha or some shit like that now? I don't even know. I'm too old. You need to find ways to engage them in holidays. Christmas is always going to be a big one because everybody likes free shit. Parents, it's kind of sucks for us, but everybody else. 4th of July, I've said this a million times now, is like, I enjoyed fireworks, but you know why I enjoyed fireworks? Because I lived in a trailer park where there was nothing that would burn down. So we would fucking light off, flowers, and we'd fucking pound Whistling Pete's until they exploded, and we'd do all kinds of bad shit with fireworks. Because it was Bakersfield. There's no trees in Bakersfield. Well, there's one tree, but it's a very lonely tree, okay? A palm tree. And it looks like it's struggling. Now we live in this time where it's like, especially if you live in a place like California, it's like, if you light off a fucking firework, the fucking entire state catches on fire. So I'm saying all the time, I'm like, dude, have you guys never seen these drone shows? They're fucking amazing. They're amazing. You get to fucking see it, the Death Star, and then the Death Star turns into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex eats the Death Star, and it becomes the Enterprise. It's fucking dope. And I tried to sell that to people. I was like, why don't we do drone shows instead? That stuff's pretty fucking amazing. And the rednecks I know are like, yeah, but they don't go boom. I want shit that explodes. I like fire. I like seeing stuff blow up. Like, that's old people. Like, if we really want to see people really engage in their country and really enjoy being a part of it and in part of the holidays that we want to celebrate and kind of bring communities back together, then we better start fucking thinking of ways to do it that appeal to young people, or at least people in their fucking 30s. Because Thanksgiving is boring, even if I like to eat all that food. I do enjoy all that food. But it is boring.
World,
Totally. I mean, look, again, that is really the most interesting part of this episode for me. The PSA stuff is very funny, obviously, because it's little tiny penis. It's funny. There's
funny.
One bedrock rule of comedy. If you put googly eyes on a penis, people are going to laugh. But the big point of this episode is, again, the guys at South Park saying there is somebody in power who is using the power of the presidency and the power of the legal system to shut people up. And we're not going to be shut up. We're not going to play that game. We're not going to bow and decide what can and cannot be said for us. And I do think that's a real vibe shift. That is a thing that the president has long kind of play it as a trump card. And he is losing it. He is losing it. And this is exhibit A in what is going on.
I like the Epstein stuff also wasn't really in this episode, right? And they
Well,
turned there was a little bit because the Iran bombing was in it.
So there at one point Donald Trump goes into bed with Satan and does the kind of Saddam Hussein thing.
Yeah,
and Satan is mad at him. Satan is mad at him because his name kept showing up in the Epstein files. Like, I don't even want to talk to you. You are in the Epstein files. And President Trump in South Park's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Come on, guy.
It hits every note. It hits every note from the last, I don't know, month or so of the presidency.
Dude, that's pretty good.
Boy, I might just have to rewatch that clip again. It's really good. Everybody, you guys go watch it. We don't want to get, Paramount has a lot of legal issues right now.
Yeah, and Paramount does not mess around. I grew my channel off of reactions to Jordan Klepper videos, and I have actually talked to Paramount's lawyers. It is not a fun time. They do not mess around. I thought about playing the clip that is live on YouTube on one of their channels, and I was like, nope, can't do that on Matt's channel. Maybe we'll chance it over on mine this Saturday. But I'm very respectful of my time here. I really appreciate everything that Matt lets me do here, and very appreciative of you guys being here and supporting the show. I'm not about to do that. I know exactly how tough Paramount can be.
Now, so probably our YouTube feed is not at the top of it, but just to be safe, you guys go watch it on another platform. We'll just show you a couple little pictures of Trump cuddling with Satan to give you a tease, because I enjoy that. You'll have to go see the googly-eyed penis yourself. Hopefully on the internet somewhere. You don't need to. Don't need
Google
to give
that.
the Paramount people money. All right, if you don't want to, I get that.
Hey, look,
I mean,
think
they
it's
just
worth
paid $16 million to Donald Trump.
1 month.
It's worth supporting Trey Parker and Matt Stone for what they've done.
Yeah, can we direct order? Is it like southpark.com? Is it like a direct download?
There is actually there's a website, etrumpedus.com. If you go to etrumpedus.com, it'll take you to an embed of the PSA, which you then have to actually click over to YouTube to watch, because they won't even show it on that site, because it's again it's a little bit risky.
It's
they
considered
want to make sure everybody's
sexualization.
watching that on YouTube where they can verify ages and such.
Well, thank you to Matt and Trey. They brought back Casa Bonita, and now they have torn Donald Trump down to size. We appreciate you very much. Sonny Bunch, Culture. Go read Sonny's culture material at thebulwark.com. He has a podcast about the movies and such. You can check out as well if you're interested in that. And Sonny, I appreciate your time. Your peanut.
Dope. I don't know what he is about to say. I don't know what he is about to say, but we're not staying for the rest of that. I don't want to know how he was going to finish that. Yeah. It's funny he says that about YouTube not being okay with that video PSA of Trump, because I did make a video on the Trump sucking Elon's toes, and that did get me a strike. That strike is now down. I was a good boy. Couple months of good behavior, and I am no longer stricken by YouTube, but they did strike me for a fetish video is what I got struck for. Like, it's not my fetish, it's Donald Trump's fetish. It was educational, guys. It was educational. But that's that's actually a really good segue, because we have a couple other things to talk about. And I wanted to talk about Ghislaine. I call her Ghislaine. I know there are people like, her name is Ghislaine. Nope. Her name is Ghislaine Maxwell. Because I told people that most likely Donald Trump is going to make an effort to get Ghislaine a pardon or commute her sentence. And this is happening. I said, most likely what's going to happen here is that the Department of Justice is going to find out whether or not Miss Maxwell will willfully say that Donald Trump is not in those files, and in exchange, she will get a commuting of her sentence. And that is what is happening now. The Department of Justice went to talk to Maxwell. Pam Bondi did. Pam Bondi, who, guys, refused to go to a council on sex trafficking, okay? Refused to go to, because she was recovering from a torn cornea, okay? All right? But she still got enough that I think she sent her deputy AG, right? I believe it is maybe Emil Bove. Would that be Emil Bove? The guy who just got passed through? I believe so, to talk to Maxwell. So, where we're at now with this is this kind of a strange situation. Because if you are MAGA and you believe that the Epstein files are real, not an Epstein hoax, if you are MAGA and you believe they're real, and you believe that those files need to be released, and he commutes the sentence of Maxwell to get her testimony, that should 100% make you upset with Trump. Because if in doing so, he is releasing one of the people that was the only person that's alive, by the way, that has been identified as being one of the purveyors of these crimes. So this is just, once again, one of these times where you have to ask yourself, how stupid is MAGA? Are they stupid enough to not be able to say to themselves, oh, hold on, why would he commute the sentence of somebody that has been found guilty of trafficking human beings? Why am I not upset about that? Because this should directly conflict with everything leading up to this point. Because if his point of view is that those files don't exist, which he said now multiple times, and then he has the person that's in prison come out and say, yeah, the files don't exist or don't have Trump's name in them, or Trump barely knew Epstein, whatever it is that he wants her to say, and then he commutes her sentence, then you're literally at a point where you are going to receive no justice for the things that you have believed adamantly happened for the last 10 years. There is no other way to view this. And if you are in MAGA and you say to yourself, I believe whatever Trump says, right? Then coming up to the election, moving towards the election, Donald Trump said that those files existed and that he would release them. And now he's saying that they are a hoax and that they were created by Obama, Biden, and Comey. So he is either lying to you now or he was lying to you then. One or the other. There is no, well, both can be true. No. He either lied to you and told you that those files existed to get your vote, and they don't, which we all know is bullshit, or he is lying to you now and they do exist and his name is all over them. I myself, and this is not a suggestion that I make lightly, because it's a terrible thing to watch, but I myself started watching the 2020 Netflix documentary on Epstein last night again. I want to always be sure that I know what I'm talking about. I always want to be sure that the things that I'm saying, at least I'm honest about, and that I believe. I'm not going to say I'm always correct, but I will say that when I say things, I do believe them. I have thought about them. I have researched them, and I believe they are true. And so I watched the first episode of that docuseries. It's fucking heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. Because it goes into the stories of these young women that were trafficked by Epstein. There's a woman in these stories. And by the way, I was abused as a child. My sisters were abused as children. My mother was abused as a child. I take these things very, very seriously. The woman that they interview, one of the victims, when she was like 10 years old, watched her stepfather and her mother, or his girlfriend, sorry, her stepfather and his girlfriend beat to death an 8-year-old in front of her, their son. She then went through the foster home system, and then she was eventually, her grandmother got custody of her, and then she was trafficked by Epstein because a young woman introduced her to Epstein to massage him for a couple $100. It's not, you can never just say like that there's no scale as far as assault goes as to this is worse than this. All assault is bad. And there is no this is worse than this. But to hear something like that about a person's life, coming from my background where I went through a lot of shit as a kid, like I can put myself in her shoes. I didn't see, my sibling murdered in front of me, but I saw my siblings beaten. I saw my mother beaten. I was aware of the assault that took place on my sisters, on myself, obviously. I can put myself in that woman's shoes, and it's just, to me, it is so incredible that she's still alive to give this testimony. And that is just one story of the many stories that you will watch in this Netflix documentary. To think that there are people right now that are willing to just shove this under a rug. It's old news. Why are we still talking about it? To me, that is fucking mind-boggling. Like, to me, if you can sweep something like that under the rug, you have either participated in those things yourself, wish to participate in those things and don't think that it's bad, or you are so fucking brainwashed that you will not go and research any of these things to say to yourself, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should look at this information. And anybody that's ever read the Katie Johnson case, the 2016, and I believe she also sued him and Epstein once before that, the Epstein case of Katie Johnson against Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, anybody that's ever read those files, insane. Like, even if half of it is true, if 10% of it is true, it's fucking horrific. And I do suggest this, and like I said, I don't suggest it lightly. You have to be aware. This is not stuff that's going to, it's not entertaining. It's not, it's not educational. It's just, you need to watch it so that way you understand exactly how bad this human being was and how bad of a person you would have to be in any way associated with this human being. And, I don't care whether he killed himself or not. I'll be honest with you, other than the fact that he could have maybe outed Trump or anybody else that was a part of it, I'm glad he's dead. I'm happy he's dead. Because at least that means he can't hurt anybody else. So anyways, let's watch this video. This is an MSNBC video talking about them sending... I finally figured out how to work my machine here. Sending the former defense attorney, now deputy AG, to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Donald Trump might, at this point, have better luck stopping a freight train. But he's trying anyway this afternoon to turn the page, to move on from what has become the most enduring debacle of his second term as president. That is, of course, the Epstein Files ordeal, which Politico reports has entered a new stage. Quote, if it wasn't a crisis already, it is indisputably one now. And it threatens to swallow the news cycle and drastically complicate the GOP's push to enact Trump's agenda.
Something, I said this the other night. I don't think it was on the stream. It was on my own stream. It drives me nuts the way this is talked about. Like I said, this isn't a time for soft language. You shouldn't be saying, and it threatens to swallow the news cycle and drastically complicates the GOP's push to enact Trump's agenda. This is not like the guy cheated on his wife. This is not, he got caught in fucking securities fraud. This isn't, you know, he hid some fucking things he did during the election to get extra votes. This is real women that still live and still have to live with the things that this person did. This should, you know what this news story should be? This news story is alleged sex trafficker and PDF file is in big fucking trouble because people are onto his ass, and if enough evidence comes out, his ass is going to jail. That's what it should be. I fucking hate the way the news talks about this. Well, you know, it seems like Trump's been pitched a curveball. Are you fucking kidding me? This isn't a curveball. This motherfucker just killed the team on the bus and walked out on the field. Isn't it fucking you? How's he gonna deal with this one? Jesus Christ, it drives me nuts.
As we speak, Donald Trump is in the midst of what amounts to an arm-waving look over here mission. He's at the headquarters of the Federal Reserve following repeated ceaseless criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell over myriad things, especially over his refusal to lower interest rates and the cost of renovations to that building. Donald Trump is expected to deliver remarks from the Fed. We'll watch them
Which
for
he
you
did,
if news
and the
is
Fed
made.
fucking
We'll
worked him.
report it to you immediately. But it's the story that the administration can't quite escape at this point. And there are developments to tell you about. Because we understand Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche met with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, in a Tallahassee courthouse. That meeting appears to be over. Maxwell's attorney said as much, adding that her client answered all the questions. If Blanche emerges at any point in the next couple hours and speaks to cameras, we'll monitor that for you as well. The Trump administration framed Blanche's visit to Maxwell as a search for answers, a position complicated by a couple of factors. First, Maxwell appears to be an unreliable witness. Among her charges was perjury. And a July 2020 Department of Justice filing, while Trump was president, continued her supporting her continued detention, reads in part, quote, the defendant's willingness to brazenly lie under oath about her conduct, including some of the conduct charged in the indictment, strongly suggests her true motive has been and remains to avoid being held accountable for her crimes. Now, the second complicating factor, more news outlets, including the New York Times, have now confirmed the story we came on the air with at this hour yesterday. That is that Attorney General Pam Bondi told Donald Trump in the spring that his name appears in the Epstein
100%.
files. We'll point out again and again that the mere presence of Donald Trump's name in the Epstein files is not the same thing as evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime or engaged in any wrongdoing, but it is notable given how badly this is.
If he didn't commit a crime, he would have just released the files. I don't know how this has to be this fucking hard for people. No one would fucking push back this hard on something unless they did something that they weren't supposed to, or they have knowledge of somebody that did shit that they weren't supposed to be doing, which in itself is a fucking crime. You can't have a person say, you know, well, you know, there might not be any actual connections of criminality here. It's just he really, really doesn't want this information to come to light. To me, that's all the evidence I need. Let me tell you something. My wife can look at my phone anytime she wants. My kids can go, hey, can I get your phone real quick? I want to look what this login is or do whatever on my phone. Well, yeah, go do it. I don't give a shit. You know why? Because I have nothing to hide. Zero. But if my wife were to say, hey, I need to get something off your phone. Can I get the login information? Can I get the pattern? And I was like, you know, fuck. I can never remember my pattern. The PIN code? You said the PIN code? Oh. You know, I'm thinking right now, I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember. Have you seen my phone? I don't even know what my phone is. Here, let me get that for you. Actually, what are you trying to do? If that's how I respond to that shit, you can 100% bet that there is some shit on my phone that I'm trying to keep my wife from seeing. Okay? This isn't fucking rocket science. They're like, he doesn't want to release the information for some crazy reason. It's really weird. Strangest thing ever. Can't believe it. I mean, I don't know, maybe he needs to look over them files one more time. Like, the news media is fucking absolutely garbage.
It's been handled and how hard the administration is insisting to its own base
Children, not
that it
so
should move
much.
on. Last
Rolanda,
night,
I
a
don't
lawyer
use my
for
phone.
some 200 Epstein victims called on lawmakers to subpoena Epstein's estate for a so-called birthday book that was presented to Epstein at his 50th birthday party by Ghislaine Maxwell. Watch.
I do know that they were involved in the assembly of the book, several of them. They were told by Ghislaine to assist in putting the book together. Others have seen the book post birthday and after it was assembled. So the existence of the book is it's an absolute fact. Now, who wrote letters? What's in the book? You're going to have to get the book to figure it out.
Yep.
Now, following that interview, MSNBC reached out to the Epstein estate to confirm not just the existence of the book in question, but whether or not it is still in their possession. Representatives responded, quote, "The Epstein estate will comply with all lawful process," end quote. That is where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. NBC News White House correspondent Von Hilliard joins us.
It's all coming out, guys. Here, I want to take a look at this other one, too, while we still got time. It's all coming out, guys. A little bit at a time. It's all coming out. So we got this one here. This is what's happening right now to Trump. And this is, I love this for him, because the very tool that he used, pun intended, to win this election, the victimhood and sometimes legit grievances of young men, is turning against him, and I am so here for this. I am so here for this. This is exactly what should be happening. And it makes me feel really good about young voters that they are possibly waking up to a mistake they made. Because I say this about people that steal stuff in my store. I say, a young person stealing from my store, I don't think you should, but I can understand. I know you're young, you're dumb, you make mistakes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of old-ass people that steal from my store. And those people, I'm like, you're old enough to know better. Fuck is wrong with you? So I always say that there's always hope for young people to learn from their mistakes and do better. And I will always give more credence to them saying they've made mistakes and that they will do better than I do for older people, because I genuinely believe in giving people a path to redemption. And so this is Kyle Kulinski talking about young voters turning on Trump in record-breaking fashion. And like I said, these are the types of things that do give me hope about our society, make me feel so much better, and make me feel like things are really going to look up for America in the future.
Welcome to the show, y'all. I got some great stuff for you today. So in just a second, wait until you see how thoroughly young people have turned on Trump. I mean, they are abandoning him at a record pace. Wait until you see these numbers. This is truly mind-boggling, and I actually think it's a record. I don't think I've ever seen a plunge this pronounced in such a short period of time. So we'll talk about that. I also
just
have
keep setting
the
records.
legend, the GOAT himself, Al Green, went on the floor of Congress and went off at Netanyahu, went off at Trump, charged them with...
My favorite soul singer, possibly my favorite singer of all time, is Al Green. So I have to like Al Green no matter what. I mean, he's amazing anyways, but fucking good name, dog. Good name.
With genocide. This is great, and this is the sort of stuff that every single Democratic politician should be saying. So I'll show you that video. We also have Candace Owens is turning on Trump over Epstein. Now, I will say, look, as you all know, a lot of the MAGA people, they're not really turning on Trump, right?
Nope.
Like, they pretended for a day or two, like maybe they would abandon him, but then they go right back to daddy. That's what you've seen with a lot of the bro podcast sphere. That's what you see with Alex Jones, for example. Certainly Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson and the Fox News assholes. We all know how the game is played. But
Yep.
there are certain characters who are actually crusading against Trump. They're losers and they're terrible and they're far-right fascists, but nonetheless they're turning against Trump. That's what you see.
Yeah, and we'll take it. Like, that's the funniest thing about, like, this timeline. Is it's like, how can you sit here as a Trump supporter and watch the worst human beings alive, the Candace Owens of the world, turning on Trump and being like, yo, that's a line too far for me. The Epstein files is like, that's like, I'm not that shitty of a human being. And yet, as a Trump supporter, you're like, well, you know, I am. Like, if you can't hold the line that Candace Owens is setting, that is pretty fucking sad.
Fuentes, and now you're beginning
Or
to
Nick
see that with
Fuentes.
Candace.
Jesus
so she's
Christ.
more in like the Fuentes lane than the other ones. So she's going a little harder than some of the others. So I can't wait to talk about that. I'll show you that in a little bit. We also have a horrible report just dropped about widespread torture at ICE facilities. Really, really horrific. And then later on, we have...
I saw, allegedly, there's a video of the conditions that was taken by an immigrant. I'm not sure how. Maybe they let them keep their phones or something. I don't know. But maybe he keistered it in his prison wallet. It's a possibility. Hopefully it wasn't one of those big iPhones. That's all I'm saying. That could be painful. You got to have a really big prison wallet to keister that. That's all I'm saying. But, yeah, you know, like I said, we live, thankfully, in a day and age of technology and the internet and YouTube content creators where all this stuff is being talked about. Imagine what life would be like if all of this stuff flew under the radar and we didn't have the ability to share it with so many people. This country could be so much worse right now if it wasn't for the day and age that we live in and our ability to combat this using the tools that we have.
The world's worst Democrat, Joe Manchin, is now trying to
he's
kick
not a Democrat.
better Democrats, lefty Democrats out of the
not a
party.
Democrat.
We have MAGA influencers going to Israel to learn how to do propaganda. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. And then we also have an ex-MAGA cultist drop some devastating truth bombs on everybody. He's actively trying to deconvert people from the cult, which nothing but respect for doing that mission. So, all right, guys, you know the drill. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time. It costs you nothing at all. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. We could not do it without you. This is true independent media. This is grassroots funded.
Yep,
I've
support
never talked to an
Kyle.
advertiser.
Support
I've never
Kyle.
done an ad read. I'm one of very few people in this space that can say that. Most people at some point talk to some business, some corporation, do some sort of ad bullshit. I've never done it.
I as well, Kyle. I as well. I'm not pulling the numbers Kyle's pulling, though.
Never will. You guys made that possible because you give $2 a month or $5 a month or whatever it may be, or you tip with that thanks button on YouTube. Very thankful for that as well. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. We're talking to Andrew Callahan this week. We
Oh,
just had that
nice.
amazing 3-hour interview with Hunter.
Dude, I am so happy because Andrew, for those of you who don't know who Andrew Callahan is, the Channel 5 news guy, when I talk about past the redemption, guys like him are what I'm talking about. Andrew Callahan did have some things in his past when he was doing No Gas, No Brakes, All Gas, No Brakes, and his Channel 5 news stuff that, you know, allegedly was pretty bad. And he came out and apologized and said that he was going to seek help to become a better person. And since he's came back after, you know, a bit of time, I think it was like 2 years, he's talked about it. He's talked about the fact that InfoWars offered him a job. And that, you know, I don't think people fully understand, because I think most people think if you cancel a person that they just have to go away. But that is not the environment we live in anymore. If you cancel somebody on the left, and I'm not saying that Andrew didn't deserve the criticisms that he had against him. Obviously he did. He accepted those criticisms and he apologized. And hopefully he has become a better person since then. But when people are canceled on the left, the door on the right is wide open. And there are a lot of people that choose to walk through that door, and Andrew Callahan didn't. And so I'm really happy to see Andrew doing as well as he is, and I hope that he, with his action, proves that he has learned from his experiences, the things that he made mistakes on, and I hope that this continues to roll for him, because we need more people that can grow through experience and recognize when they've done something wrong or have done something that other people in this society find to be wrong, that you can still come back and you can still, become a better person. I myself, 10 years ago, would not know the person I am today. And part of that is because of you guys, because of communities, because of people not, pushing me out because of the way that I talk, or because, my lack of education. I sat here with Pastor Benjamin watching his show on Zionism. And while I'm watching this, a lot of people know I don't speak a lot about that conflict. And I don't speak about it not because I'm afraid to, but because I feel like I would lead to more disinformation because I'm not very well educated on the subject. And I thought about that. And I thought, how many people would say to me, like, but you should be. And, I have a full-time job. I have a family. I do content creation. I don't ever stop working. There's not a day that I don't work. And even with that being said, I understand that I need to be better, and I need to be better educated on these things. And sitting there watching Pastor Benjamin before I came on, and watching him talk about Zionism, and for him to show that video of that rabbi speaking about, the ills of Zionism, like, that helps to educate me. And I can say right now that I'm still not the person that I could be. I'm still not better than I was earlier today or last week, because if I was, I would know more about that subject, and I'd be able to speak to it more eloquently, and I'd be able to be better educated on the subject and have opinions that would not lead to more disinformation. So I think we need people like Andrew. I think we need people that have lived experience, that have made mistakes, that come back from them. And just like I said at the beginning of the show, when I see Anna Kasparian going in on people on Piers Morgan, I hope that that's also what she's going through, and I hope that her lived experiences turn in to her rejoining the side of sanity.
Biden, and subscribe to Corin's World, the YouTube channel, because we're posting Kyle and Corin's over there, and we just started live streaming them. We're working out some bugs. He had some internet issues. It was a little choppy the last time, but we're fixing that shit. We're on top of it, and so come hang out with us when we do our live Kyle and Corin's. You don't want to miss it, so subscribe to Corin's World and click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time we go live. You're not going to want to miss that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. No more beating around the bush here. So, new CBS poll just dropped, and this is incredible. Trump's approval rating when it comes to young people. Now, in this poll, they're defining young as between 18 and 29 years old. Ready for this? In early February, he had a 55% approval rating with young people. 55. Which, by the way, that's sort of a crime in and of itself. The fact that...
I was going to say... And it just goes to show that the left has no ability to talk to the young people, man. Like, we can put this on the young people if we want, but that's just, once again, that's going to be the left fucking up. The left has a real problem with speaking to young people. This is why I like AOC, because she does a magnificent job of utilizing social media to speak to young people. This is why I like Jasmine Crockett, because the way that she handles her business appeals to young people. Like, people like Chuck Schumer are never going to bring in the young vote. Even Hakeem Jeffries, I was just making fun of Hakeem last night. I think Hakeem's a good dude, but I think that he's like, he's Chuck Schumer's understudy pretty much, right? They thought it was a good idea for Hakeem Jeffries to pick up a bat and act hard. And I'm like, man, if I was 20, I'd be like, that shit is cringe. Why are you so cringe, bro? You're not a hard ass. Put the baseball bat down and go out there and fucking work on policy or something. And like I said, I do like Hakeem Jeffries. I don't agree with the path that Democrats want to take nowadays, and I think that he's making a mistake in attempting to follow along that same route. The fact that he will not show support for Zohran Mamdani, like, you see young men love Zohran. They think he's amazing. They want that dude in office, and then Hakeem Jeffries doesn't want to come out and put his support behind him. Chuck Schumer's not going to put his support behind him. So when you talk about 55% of the young voters, saying that they have a positive outlook on Trump, well, that isn't just, you can't just blame young people. You got to blame the Democrats as well. And, I think it's amazing to see that so many people that are young have, brightened up, like figured it out that Donald Trump is not a good person. But we kind of failed by allowing him to think he was in the first place. Now, mind you, I was 18 to 29 at one point, and I wasn't the smartest dude ever. And probably I might not have listened to it. Maybe I had to touch that fire to realize that it burned me. So maybe that also speaks good about the future for this generation. But we do have to take some accountability for why young people, specifically young men, do not have any real respect for democratic values. We got to work on that, and we have to be better.
18 to 29 approval between 18 and 29 years old. Ready for this? In early February, he had a 55% approval rating with young people. 55.
Yes, Hulk
Which,
Hogan
by the way,
died today.
that's sort of a crime in and of itself. The fact that 18 to 29-year-olds ever had majority support of Trump is disgusting, right? But look at this. It goes from 55% in February, now in July, 28%. Went from 55% support to 28% support. Ladies and gentlemen, that
Amazing.
is a 54-point negative swing in a short-ass time frame, y'all.
And I want to say that his...
I have to say, I don't know if I've ever seen a plumb.
I want to say that his approval with independents is down 28%. I could be wrong about that exact percentage, but I think that's the percentage I saw earlier today, was Trump's approval rating is down 28% with independents. That'd be fucking... I mean... It does give you hope that there are some intelligent people still left out there that aren't brainwashed to the fucking nines.
This historic, this drastic, this quickly in such a short period of time, man. This has got to be some sort of a polling record. It has to be. It has to be.
Setting records.
So this is what
That's
we
what
call,
Trump
guys, and
does.
we talked about this a lot leading up to the election. This is what we call soft Trump support, right? So you have the MAGA cult, and they're locked in no matter what. You all know that. Everybody knows that, right? But then you have like the independents and the moderates and the young people, the soft support for Trump, who go, I don't fucking know. I don't follow this stuff that closely. I guess he'll make things cheaper. I'll go that direction.
Yep.
Well, now they're looking
Believe
around
the
going,
lies.
holy shit, what the fuck did I sign up for, man? So, ready for this? Let me give you some more specifics. Age 18 to 34 group in a new CNN poll. Ready? Here's what they think of Trump. 18 to 34. On the economy, 71% disapprove of Trump's job. Healthcare, 78% disapprove. Immigration, 70% disapprove. Foreign affairs, 72% disapprove. Budget, 70% disapprove. Deportations, 73% disapprove. Taxes, 72% disapprove. On every single issue. Not only is he underwater, he's underwater double digits.
Big.
He's underwater colossally, y'all. Colossally. There's not a single issue where young people look at Trump and they go, oh yeah, at least he's delivering on that thing.
And you know
every fucking issue.
The thing about it is that Trump doesn't care. He already said it. I think people got him wrong when he was saying he won't need your vote anymore. I don't think he was saying that he'd be, a king for life or whatever. I think that Donald Trump was like legit saying to people's faces, I don't give two shits after this. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want. I just want to be the president again. I need to avoid jail. You guys fucking vote me in, and after that, I don't give a shit about you. I don't give a rat's ass about you. And I think that's what those numbers say, is that is Donald Trump saying to all of those people, I could give a fuck less whether or not you like what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I want to do it. That's what 70% disapproval to me says.
It's every fucking issue. So this, look, I know it's a fool's errand to sometimes have hope, but this does give me a little bit of hope, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
it looks to me, and I'm curious what you guys think, what your theory is, but this looks to me like younger people, I think they just follow this stuff a little closer than older people in terms of like, get news alerts and see what actually is passing in terms of policy and stuff like that. And you don't have to follow that closely to see what Trump has how he's royally fucked the country in such a short time frame. I mean, literally building concentration camps in real time right in front of our faces. Literally, that's what's. I mean, we're talking about alligator Alcatraz. We're talking about Guantanamo Bay. They want to send 30,000 immigrants.
He's talking about Alcatraz again. He once again is saying, like, it would be great. Like, it's going to cost something like $2 billion to retrofit Alcatraz. And this dipshit just wants it because it's called Alcatraz. That's it. Like, people give this guy too much credit for thinking about stuff. The only reason he wants Alcatraz back is because it's Alcatraz. And he's like, it's got sharks with freaking lasers on their heads. Nobody tell him that there's no sharks with lasers on their heads. He probably believes that shit. Like, this guy does not give two shits about anybody. He really only cares about what he likes and what he wants. And he's building the concentration camps just like MAGA claimed Biden was going to do through FEMA.
We're talking about CCOT in El Salvador. You know, we're talking about militarily invading Los Angeles. Like, what? What are we talking about here? I mean, when you look at the big bullshit bill that just passed, add $4 trillion to the debt and the deficit, cut taxes on the rich, raise them for everybody else, cut Medicaid.
Trump is on pace right now to add a total of $13 trillion plus in his 2 terms to the debt. You can miss me with the whole debt conversation. Donald Trump, in and of himself, at this point, 6 months into this administration, is right now projected to add $13 trillion total to the debt. In numbers, during Trump's first term, because his policies were so bad, he only brought back $500 billion into the economy. Joe Biden, on the other hand, added 4.7 trillion, I think it was, to the debt and brought back $1.6 trillion using the policies, the Infrastructure Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and the Microchips Science and Chips Act would have brought back even more. This whole idea that the Republicans are going to, get rid of our debt is fucking insane.
$800 billion, kick 17 million people off their health care, kick 3 million people off food stamps, cut free school lunch for kids. The list goes on and on.
List goes
Kill
on.
all these jobs programs like the wind and solar projects that Biden allocated money for.
800,000 electricians that possibly going to be out of work.
And I think people look around and they see, okay, so he's waging a trade war. My prices are going up, right? My prices at the store are going up, so inflation is going up. I'm not getting any sort of help on the back end with the social safety net or get with a tax cut. He's just serving the billionaires, and he's just delivering on the fascism and fucking rounding up innocent people left and right. And he's bombing Iran and shit now.
Yep.
What's in this for me? What is in this for me? That's what people think. And the answer is dick. There's nothing in this for you. There's nothing in this for any of them.
Well, that would be something.
Right? So it really is a bit of a wake-up call.
They could at least get some
dick.
dick.
Really is a bit of a wake-up call. And I think the young people in particular kind of have woken up, right? I think they're looking around going, yeah, maybe we fell for some bullshit. Now, to be fair, young people, Trump says, oh, I won young people by, he makes up some preposterous amount.
Of course he does, 1,500%.
It was Kamala who won young people. But Kamala only got I want to say it was 56% of the vote or something with young people. So
yeah,
low relative to historical standards where Democrats usually win that demographic by more, right?
Mm-hmm. 72%.
But the point is, the fact that he went from 55% approval with young people to 28 means I think they're paying attention. I think they see what's happening. I think they know that none of this shit is helping them. And I think they're just sick of the fucking shtick. I think the vibes are off. The vibes have shifted. It's not that hard to, talk about the failures of Trump because he rubs them in your face. Like bragging about cutting healthcare for 17 million people. Who the fuck's going to cheerlead that other than the biggest, most brainwashed idiots in the country and the fucking billionaire robber barons, right?
Yeah.
So young people are waking up. And if the Democrats ever learn how to fucking fight and stand for something, then we're talking about FDR margins in the next elections, man.
Yep.
But that's a big if the Democrats learn how to fight, because you know how they are, man. We all know how they are.
Yep.
They are not fighters. They are scared of their own fucking shadow. But Trump is hanging himself so bad that young people are like, never again with this bullshit. Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
Yep. Exactly. Well, all right, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys as always. And make sure you stay and hang out as we got Movie Night Extravaganza coming up next. Remember to hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. Remember to send your friends over and have them watch as well. I appreciate every one of you guys. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And if you want to check out my stuff, Saturday at 5 p.m. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.